Alright, so this module will be about how to read tabs, what your fingers are when you see them written somewhere on a tab or on anything, even in chord charts themselves. And we're going to go into a little bit about major, minor, sharps, and flats. So, reading tabs. Now, tabs are basically sheet music or written music for those who don't know theory, like folk like me, who don't really care too much for the theory side of things. I just want to play, or even yourself if you're in that same position. It's a good way for us to read music. Now, it's got 6 lines, whereas normal sheet music has 5. Now, the reason it's got 6 lines is because there's 6 strings on a guitar. And starting from the top of the lines will be the high E to the bottom, which is the low E. In between all of those lines, there will be little numbers written on it. Now, that number will be, say, let's go 5 on the B string. That 5 means the 5th fret, which would be an E. If it's a 0 or an O, that's the open string. So if they tell you it's got all the lines and it's got a 5 on the B and a 0 on the high E, that's what you play. Cool little thing about it is that it is easy to read. It is easy to access. There's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of guitar tablatures all over the internet and all over the place. So again, if you are not a sight reader of music, it's great. It's easy to get into. Problem with it in most cases is there's no tempo or time signature on it, and there's no real rhythm, so you can't really see how fast or slow you're meant to play each of those strings or each of those chords. Now, that's not too much of a problem, because if you listen to a song and you want to learn it, then you'll go back and you'll hear it in your head, and then you'll see all the things written there on the tablature, and you can kind of copy it. With tablature, you should take your time with it. Don't go too crazy. Don't try and go too fast before you start, as you're starting out. And even when I learn, I make sure that it's sort of like get my head around what it is that's going on, and then slowly build up the tempo that way. There's other cool things in it. It's got like a slide up thing, which has a little S sometimes, and it's literally a slide. So if you're going from the 3rd to the 12th, it'll be, and then one go back the other way and slide down. There's also like an upside down, like a sad face bracket, and we'll have a H and a P. That's a hammer on or a pull off, which we'll go into later, which sounds like this. You hammer your finger on, you pull your finger off real hard, and then you can make that noise. And there's also trills, tremolo picking. There's other cool little wavy lines that, anyway, more advanced stuff. What we're really focused on at the moment is just, if you come across it and you see it, that's what it all means. Now, for your fingers, on your fretboard hand, you've got 4 fingers that they're worried about, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. From your index finger to your pinky finger. And on your finger picking hand, you got these 4 fingers, which is T, which is where it will be written, which is your thumb, and then 1, 2, and 3. You probably won't see a lot of the finger picking hand written in tablature, but if you do come across some sort of classical piece, it may have that. If you see the T, your thumb looks after the lower strings, and these 3 fingers look after the 3 high strings, like that. Cool? Pretty simple stuff. Cool little tools to have in your back pocket. Now, major, minor, sharps, and flats. If you see a major chord, it generally will just have the letter. So if it's an A major, it'll just have an A. And that's what it sounds like. It sounds kind of happy, a bit upbeat, as opposed to its best friend, the minor. It'll have a little M in the chord. So major to a minor. That's pretty much it. So you can hear the difference between the major, which sounds a little bit more happy, upbeat, used in a lot of pop, to the minor, which is used in a lot of rock, indie pop, that kind of stuff. And now sharps and flats. You'll see a sharp or a flat. Generally, you'll see in chords, usually a sharp, or it'll be a flat if it's a B. When we get into the first position frets and stuff, you'll see that, well, you'll hear me say, that B is it's not usually written as A sharp, or B flat is not usually written as A sharp. Some tablatures and chord progressions do use A sharps, but if you see A sharp, it is B flat, or B flat, it is just a B flat. So what they sound like, depending on the chord or the key signature or the chord progression that they're using, that will generally sort of dictate what it's going to be written as. Key signatures, another theory thing, is you'll see sharps have got little hashtags. and B is the flat, so little b will be a flat. Right, just to demonstrate what I'm talking about, in context, it will sound completely different. It is kind of, I don't know, you can have the same chord and it can be completely weird. Yeah, how about I stop talking and just play? So I'm going to give you an A flat, and I'm also going to give you a G sharp in context with both the A major and the G major chord. Here goes. So this is the A major chord, and this is bar chords, so, you know, forgive me. And this is going to be A flat. Now flat's a flat, like a flat tire goes down. Now let's go to a G chord and go up to G sharp. Maybe you could hear that, maybe not. It's just a different sort of harmonic tone. So the A, here it goes down. Now, flats are kind of cool because they can create a bit of tension, not unlike a minor or a seventh chord. Don't get into that theory, just the way it sounds like, cool? So G major to G sharp. A flat, G sharp is the same chord. Sounds completely different in different contexts. Now that's all I'm going to touch on with that. And we're going to get into basically first position and frets, what we're going to practice and how all that works out for us. It's going to be great. Let's get ready for the next module. Thanks. Let's move on.